Hello and welcome to this live interaction with me, Ashish Parekh. We've all been talking about life outside Earth, the possibilities, and more than anything else, more than finding alien life, it is about finding another habitable planet, much like Earth. Because yes, we've got a lot of environmentalists, a lot of studies pointing out of how exactly Earth would run out of its resources one day, and even this atmosphere, the living conditions would become pretty much impossible to sustain human life. And that is when there will be a need for another planet much like Earth, a planet that supports human life like Earth does. But having said that, we haven't found one yet, despite all the technological advances. And now a new analysis has concluded that roughly half of the Milky Way, that is the galaxy's sun-like stars, host rocky worlds in habitable zones where liquid water could pool or flow over the planet's surfaces. Now, as per this new analysis, more than 300 million worlds with similar conditions to Earth are scattered throughout the Milky Way galaxies, which is our own galaxy. In fact, the finding has been accepted for publication in the Astronomical Journal, and it pins down a crucial number in the Drake equation. Now, astronomers have also estimated that the number of these planets using data from NASA's planet hunting Kepler spacecraft. For 9 years, in fact, Kepler stared at the stars and watched for brief twinkles produced when orbiting planets blot out a portion of their star's light. By the end of the mission in 2018, Kepler had spotted some 2,800 exoplanets, many of them nothing like the worlds orbiting our sun. So what exactly does this analysis point at? Do we have many more Earths like Earth-like planets in our solar system, in our galaxy? In fact, to speak to us more about this, we've got our expert for the day, Senior Professor Jayant Moti, joining us live from Indian Institute of Astrophysics. First of all, Professor, thanks a lot for joining me on this live interaction. My first question to you, of course, what exactly is Drake's equation and how reliable is this number that they've arrived at, 300 million Earth-like worlds?
Okay, so Drake's equation is quite simple. What you're really asking is how many life forms are there outside who are ready and willing to talk to you. And so that's an unknown number. We don't know anything about it.
Okay.
So what we do is that we break it up into a bunch of smaller numbers that each one of which we may know more about. For instance, how many worlds are around a star, how many Earth-like worlds are around a star, how many stars are there, and so on. So that's all that Drake equation does. It breaks down one equation where we know nothing into a bunch of smaller numbers, each one of which we can estimate.
Okay.
And what they've done now is that in this paper, what they've said is that there are many more rocky worlds than there might have been. We had no idea at all how many rocky worlds there were. Now we know that there's lots of them.
Also, Professor, now, what is the possibility of their, relying on this number, of course, because, this particular analysis says that more than 300 million worlds with similar conditions to Earth are scattered, not anywhere else, but throughout our own galaxy, that is the Milky Way galaxy. So the question that arises, even for a layman, is why haven't we been able to spot even a single planet like Earth in our galaxy?
Oh, it's actually very difficult to spot an Earth-like planet. And even this analysis is all statistical. They haven't actually found that many planets. What they've done is they've looked at the Kepler field, which is a very small field, and they've said, okay, we find so many Earth-like planets in this field. So now if we look over the entire galaxy, there's so many more stars than just in this one field. So therefore, there must be so many more planets. It's a basic thing that you do in polling. You don't actually poll everyone in the country. You poll a smaller number and you extrapolate. That's what they've done.
So it's like they've got a data from a particular sample size and they've just multiplied it to
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So again, the question that comes out of this is this reliable then? Because they've observed a particular space view, conditions are different. Again, if you observe another space view, it's a completely different whole wide universe that we have. So is that possible? Like, is it right to, in fact, multiply a particular number that you got from a particular spot in the universe?
See, again, you use the analogy with polling for government. You have different sets of people. And you hopefully try to get a good sample of different sets of people.
Okay.
Here you have different sets of objects. You have different areas of space. But you hope you do some modeling to say, okay, this is what it is like here. This is what it is like there. and you apply all those models, and you get an estimate, which should be good to within a factor of, let's say, 2.
Also, my last question to you before we wrap up this live interaction, of course, is how long do you think it will take before we actually spot one of these 300 million Earth-like planets in our galaxy? Do you think it will take a long time?
There are experiments that are going up now that may be able to spot Earth-like planets, something like JWST. It's difficult because the main problem is that you have a faint planet against a very bright star. So, like trying to look at the moon in the daylit sky. So it's difficult. I think it might take another decade before we can actually spot one of those planets.
Absolutely. One only hopes that happens as quick as possible. Thanks a lot, Professor, for joining us on this live interaction. That was Senior Professor Jayan Moti joining us live from Indian Institute of Astrophysics, clearly saying that this is based on the Drake's equation, which basically gets data from a particular sample size, a particular space view, and then it is essentially multiplied into other space views that could be seen, and then they arrive at a number, and the number that they've arrived at this point in time is 300 million Earth-like planet in our own galaxy itself. So a very staggering number, and one only hopes that at least a couple of them are found in the near future before we run out of fuel and also resources on our planet Earth. Do let us know what you guys think in the comment section below, and also do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News9 Digital. Thanks a lot for watching.